Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lesser Known But Awesome Heroes. And today, I got a big one for you guys. Yes, I know what most of you are thinking. You're looking at the title and you're like, "Well, who's this guy?" Well, guys, the Captain Atom that most of you can tell from this title page, the Captain Atom that most of us know is actually the second incarnation. As I found out, Steve Ditko actually did a first version that was part of Charleston Comics. So let me get into that. There have been two versions of Captain Atom. There has been... Where are their names? Here we go. Alan Atom and Nathaniel Atom. And both of them... Alan Atom was in the Charleston Comics continuity, whereas Nathaniel Atom is the Captain Atom that we all know from the DC universe. So now, Alan first appeared in Space Adventures issue number 33 of March of 1960, whereas Nathaniel was in Captain Atom Volume 3, issue 1 of March of 1987. Alan was created by Joe Gill and Steve Ditko, whereas Nathaniel was created by Cary, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's C-A-R-Y Bates and Pat Broderick. Now, interesting fact about both of these is that Alan was a scientist. But yet, ironically, both characters have been in the United States Air Force before, they had their abilities, which I find very intriguing that that both characters have a military history. However, the interesting thing is that Alan was more of a space pilot and scientist, whereas Nathaniel was actually just a fighter pilot, and so on and so forth. Like, basically, he was more militaristic than Alan was. But here's another interesting thing. Apparently... Man, I knew I shouldn't have drank that hot chocolate. Now my mouth feels a little sticky. Not that you guys care, but still. Now... Crap, where was it? Oh, yeah. Apparently, Alan gained his abilities by accidentally atomizing himself, but then he somehow reformed his body, and he would then exist as an atomic-powered being. Nathaniel Atom would be part of a military experiment that would actually disassemble him, and he would come back years later as Captain Atom. Now, here's their team affiliations. They've been part of the U.S. Air Force, I already said that. Alan didn't have any team affiliations. Nathaniel, however, has been part of Law, the Sentinels of Justice, and the Justice League. And here's Alan's. Alan's is that he had super strength, flight, energy blast, minor atomic transmutation, and huge atomic absorption. Nathaniel had the same things, except they really increased him. His power is almost on par to that of Martian Manhunter and Superman in terms of super strength. He can also fly at super speed. And because he is a being made more specifically of atomic quantum energy, he can actually, to a certain extent, travel into the future or the past. He can do a little bit of like time travel deal, like almost in a sense like the show Quantum Leap, which is kind of humorous in its own right. He actually can manipulate. His body is made of a really like dense alien alloy. Like, it's very, very heavily damage resistant, minus one or two things, but we'll get into that in a second. He can apparently shoot energy blasts from all directions of his body. He can quote unquote detonate himself, destroying stuff in a very wide radius. And this was actually what happened, and I'll read and I'll get into that, but apparently there was a deal with Bloodhaven where a futuristic version of him called Monarch. Yeah, I'll get into all that in a moment. I'm trying not to get ahead of myself here, but I'm just trying to get all this out before I get to the biography stuff. However, he mainly likes to shoot the energy blast out of his hands because it is more precise and more accurate and causes less collateral damage. But he has been shown to be able to blast energy from all different points of his body and in all different directions. On top of that, he's also been able to use his atomic powers to cure people of radiation poisoning, absorb many different forms of energy and of energy, especially radiation, and he's become such an expert at this, so proficient at it, that he's been able to actually slightly transmute or alter radioactive energy, thus neutralizing the powers of characters like the Ray and Firestorm. And that's actually really all that I can really go into. I mean, they go into a lot of other stuff where, at first they're talk about more when he struggled with it, that he had Ted Cord build him gauntlets and, alternate versions of them and all kinds of other stuff. But let's get into the biography stuff. And since we're already way past it, great way to actually go almost like a quarter of the way through the video, isn't it? Oh well. Okay. The Charleston Comics version, which was the Silver Age Captain Atom. This is Alan Atom. The character's origins had Atom working as a technician in a special experimental rocket when it accidentally launched with him trapped inside. He was atomized when the rocket exploded while entering the upper atmosphere. However, he somehow gained superpowers that included the ability to reform his body safely on the ground. He was outfitted in a red and yellow costume that was designed to shield people from the radiation of his nuclear powers. When he powered up, his hair changed to silver white. Later in his own title, he replaced his original, red and gold costume with a liquid metal outfit that was under his skin and which transformed when he powered up. Captain Atom's powers were similar to such as other nuclear-powered superheroes as Gold Key's Dr. Solar and Dell Comics' Nuclear. Captain Atom was first published in a series of short stories in an anthology series called Space Adventures, which was from issue 33 to 40 in March of 1960 to June of 1961, and issue 42 in October of 1961. Charleston began reprinting his short adventures in the anthology Strange Suspense Stories, beginning with issue 75 in June of 1965. Renaming the title Captain Atom at issue number 78 in December of 1965, and giving the hero full-length stories and supervillain antagonists such as Dr. Spectro. Previous stories had involved, Cold War anti-communist missions or dealing with aliens. Captain Atom later teamed with the superhero Nightshade. The superhero Blue Beetle starred in an initial backup feature, later replaced by a Nightshade backup series. Captain Atom was canceled with issue 89 in December of 1967. Excuse me. In 1975, the unfinished Ditko art for issue 90 was inked by John Byrne and published in the first two issues of the official Charleston fanzine, Charleston Bullseye, as the 10-page Showdown in Sunrilla. I don't even know what the hell that even says. Their writer John G. Michaels in the 11-page 2 Against whatever that town again, with writer Roger Stern. He would next appear in issue 7 in May of 1982 of a new talent showcase comic, also called Charleston Bullseye. Here we go. And in a story by writer Benjamin Smith and artist co-writer Dan Reed, in which for some reason he returned to his original red and yellow outfit. The character's last pre-DC appearance was in AC Comics one-shot Americomics Special #1 in August of 1983. In a story teaming the Charleston action heroes Blue Beetle, Captain Atom, Nightshade, and the Question as the Sentinels of Justice. This last story originally had been done for Charleston before the company had folded under. The actual characters made their first appearance in DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths, which introduced Earth 4 as the native reality of Captain Atom and the world where all the Charleston comics adventures had taken place. By the end, Earth 4 and the Charleston characters were incorporated into the post-Crisis DC universe. Its history merged with that of the mainstream reality. The last appearance of this Charleston era Captain Atom was in DC Comics Presents issue 90 of February of 1986. Now, let's get into the post-Crisis one. This is Nathaniel. So, oh crap. My mouse is going haywire. There we go. That scared me there for a moment. The wonderful world. There we go. Wonderful world of video making. A new post-crisis version of the character was introduced in March 1987 with the launch of a monthly comic written by Corey Bates, longtime writer of The Flash and Superman, and co-written by Greg Wiseman and drawn by Pat Broderick. This modern captain's name is established as Nathaniel Christopher Atom, a United States Air Force officer of the Vietnam War era. Adams has been framed for a crime he did not commit and sentenced to death under the watch of Colonel Wade Illing in 1968. As an alternative to execution, he is invited to participate in Project Captain Atom, a military experiment with little chance of survival in exchange for a presidential pardon. The experiment involves testing the hull of a crashed alien ship's durability by placing a human being within the metal's protection and then exploding a nuclear weapon under it. The weapon went off and Atom, along with the metal, was seemingly disintegrated. 18 years later, he would reappear, the alien metal now bonded around his body and giving him incredible powers. It is revealed that the alien metal could absorb energy, but that after a certain limit was reached, any excess of energy absorption would force it to jump forward in time. How far forward depended on how much energy was taken in. Now bounded to the metal, Nathaniel now had powers that resulted from the metal's ability to tap into the quantum field. Now alive in 1986, Nathaniel finds himself a man out of his time and in the hands of Illing, now a general and the second husband of Adam's now deceased wife, Angela. Everyone had assumed that Nathaniel had died the day of the experiment, so his presidential pardon was never issued, and the current government refuses to acknowledge the previous administration's promised pardon. Seizing the opportunity at hand, Illing uses the outstanding murder treason charges against Atom to blackmail him into acting as a government-controlled superhero codenamed Captain Atom. The events of the Charleston stories are referenced and established as a cover story for Atom. A fabricated past to convince the world that he had secretly been a hero for years and thus quickly gained the trust and reputation for his non-superhero activities. Nathaniel gained the alias of Cameron Scott, an Air Force intelligence operative. It was during this time that he meets the superpowered terrorist Plastique, who becomes a recurring part of Nathaniel's life. Each conflict involves him coming to terms with his lost time and his children, who are now close to his current age as a result of the time jump. The death of his wife, her marriage to Illing, and the overall ramifications of his newly acquired powers. Later on, he learns that the Captain Atom project had been repeated, creating the supervillain Major Force. Major Force was a bloodthirsty man who had no problem performing illegal operations for the U.S. government and doesn't share any of Captain Atom's morality in any way, shape, or form. Let's see. And Nathaniel serves under Illing reluctantly while befriending research scientist Dr. Magalia of Project Adam, who helps Nathaniel discover more about his powers. Nathaniel later succeeds in clearing his name of the original treason charge and eventually rebels against Illing, resigning from the Air Force and becoming an actual superhero. He would later be inducted into the Justice League at the request of the U.S. government, eventually serving as the leader of Justice League's European division. During his career, he had a brief romance with Catherine Colbert, develops a friendly rivalry with Firestorm, becomes involved with and eventually marries Plastique, ironically a one-time Firestorm foe, learns basic heroics from Batman when he briefly loses access to the quantum field and commands the metahuman forces during the invasion storyline where Earth was under attack by an alliance of alien forces. Captain Atom was cancelled as of issue 57 in 1991 because Atom was slated to become the hero-turned-villain Monarch in DC's Armageddon 2001 crossover event. However, when word of this leaked out, DC changed the ending at the last minute. Atom and the Monarch character continue battling through time in Armageddon, the Alien Agenda miniseries. And while he returned to his own time at the conclusion, he then returns to the League involved in the 0 Hour Crisis of '94, founded an offshoot team called Extreme Justice in '95. While leading Extreme Justice, he comes across another version of the Monarch, this one claiming to be the real Nathaniel Atom. Later in '99, he is a member of the poorly received team known as the Living Assault Weapons, or Law, the members of whom were all previously Charleston Comics characters. In 2003, he again teams up with several former members of Justice League as the Super Buddies in the humorous limited series formerly known as the Justice League. Around this time, various stories reintroduced conflict between his role in the superhero community and his responsibilities as a government agent. And at some point, his marriage to Plastique ended in divorce. Apart from a brief mention of her at the beginning of Law, the marriage appears to be forgotten. Plastique would appear in '06 as a villainess again, undoing her reformation into a superheroine. A later confirmation is brought in by the Captain Atom Armageddon miniseries, in which, after falling in love with Angela Spica, I think is how you pronounce that, Spica, of the Authority, Captain Atom reminisces about his short marriage with Plastique and attributes their divorce to their inconsolable views about the world and politics, since Nathaniel, even in his spousal life, could not stop being a loyal soldier to the U.S., and Plastique could not simply put aside her life as a terrorist. Later in '03, Jeff Loeb would return Captain Atom to his roots and went back to work for the government, this time for President Lex Luthor in the first arc of the Superman-Batman series. He seemingly sacrifices his life to save Superman, Batman, and Earth by piloting a spaceship to destroy a kryptonite laser, but it had previously been established that this type of accident could not kill him. He soon returns to life and to the background of the DC universe. In an '05 issue of Batman Superman, it is made clear that Captain Atom survived the collision with the kryptonite meteor, but had absorbed massive amounts of radiation and became a supervillain described as a kryptonite man. This radiation is siphoned out of Captain Atom using a device made by the new Toy Man, which returns Captain Atom to his usual self. In '05-06, he would appear in a 9-part limited series entitled Captain Atom Armageddon under DC's Wildstorm imprint. And Captain Atom's sacrifice in Batman Superman sends him to the Wildstorm universe for the duration of the series. In this title, He wears a yellow-red outfit that is very similar to the very first Captain Adams, albeit it's a little more metally and shiny, and it was first seen in the 1996 Kingdom Come limited series. At the moment of his apparent death, he experiences a time shift coinciding with his '05 appearance in Batman Superman, resulting in his arrival in the Wildstorm universe. He quickly gets into a fight with the overzealous Mr. Majestic, and the fight ends with Majestic soundly defeated. Seeing the frightened reactions of onlookers and puzzled over his own altered appearance, he realizes that he has somehow been trapped in an alternate Earth, one where superheroes are feared by the general populace. Mistaken by the local heroes as a force destined to destroy their universe, he is in fact an instrument used ultimately by Nicola Hassan, a new host of half the essence of the Void, to reclaim her whole power, partly lodged in his own body, and cause his altered appearance, to use it to trigger the reboot of the Wildstorm universe in the Worldstorm event. Ugh. Man, quite a mouthful. Okay. Here we go. The Monarch character, apparently. Captain Atom returns to the DC Universe in Infinite Crisis number 7 when Superboy Prime Punctured Breach, who wields similar energy-manipulating abilities. At the end of Armageddon, has him reappear in the devastated Bloodhaven. A year later, he was revealed to be contained inside Bloodhaven and used to administer radiation treatments to metahumans. Apparently Void, able to finally let him go home, is unable to ensure his safety, and multiple damages to his radiation shielding skin had left him comatose and unable to keep down his body radiation to safe levels. This forces the Atomic Knights to keep him constantly contained. In 08's Countdown issue 8, it is learned that these ruptures were caused as part of a greater plan by Solomon the Monitor and his plans to recreate the Monarch as part of a larger scheme to force the assimilation of the other Monitors. After being fitted with an updated version of the Monarch armor to contain his radiation, the Captain awakens. Seeming to be mentally unstable, he breaks free, apparently kills the rampaging Major Force, and then releases a vast amount of energy, annihilating what was left of Bloodhaven. He remains missing until Kyle Rayner, who was then known as Ion, discovers him in the Bleed, a place between dimensions. The Captain indicates that he is traveling through the Bleed in order to operate outside the gaze of the monitors. He discusses his time in the Wildstorm universe and his desire to be in alternate worlds. In the man, I cannot clear my throat. In the last panel of Countdown issue 45, Monarch is shown observing Forerunner. The following issue, 44, bears a cover by Ed Beans with the Monarch armor, or Benz. Features Monarch swaying Forerunner to his side, turning her against the Monitors. Monarch argues that the Monitors are genocidal overlords who must be defeated. However, the Monitors assert that Monarch is a supervillain whose plan is to cause a multiversal war that will leave him the ruler of the unified Earth, remaining in its wake. He creates an army of foot soldiers, including the extremists of Earth 8, the JL Axis of Earth 10, and the Crime Syndicate of Earth 3, and disposes of Forerunner when he reveals his plans for a multiversal arena tournament. The 4-issue miniseries Countdown Arena features Monarch battling alternate versions of characters throughout the multiverse. To compile a strike team for his new multiversal army, especially one Superman, one Batman, one Wonder Woman, a Green Lantern, Flash, Blue Beetle, Nightshade, Starman, and a Ray. Yeah. Alright, now where was I? Ah, yeah. His behavior became increasingly violent, notably in the form of his killing all residents on the eve of Shadow's country in retribution for her attempt to violate the monarch's rule of no escaping. He is now paranoid and unwilling to share details of his past to his subordinates. However, the Red Sun Superman and Liberty Files Batman discern that under the Monarch's armor lies another Captain Atom, so they employ his counterparts, Breach and Quantum Storm, to assemble an army of Captain Atoms from different dimensions to fight back. And in Arena's conclusion, Monarch reveals that Breach is his brainwashed accomplice and that he has lured his 51 counterparts in order to murder them and absorb their power. With his team of Eve of Shadows, Vampire Batman, Ray Palmer, the Murderous Scarab, Hal Jordan Jr., Star Woman, Johnny Quick, Wonder Woman, Red Sun Superman, and himself, the sum power of 52 Captain Atoms, Monarch believes he is ready to confront the Modders, and does so, finally launching his war on Earth 51 against the exposed Monitors. In a perpetuated battle against Superman Prime, his suit is damaged, releasing a chain reaction that abruptly destroys the entire universe of Earth 51 alongside its monitor. It was later revealed that the Monitor Solomon had attacked Captain Atom in Bloodhaven, rupturing his skin and setting in motion his transformation into Monarch. During Jimmy Olsen's investigation on Project 7734, the Black Ops, commanded by Sam Lane to fight extraterrestrial menaces, including Kryptonians, it is discovered that an amnesiac and brainwashed Captain Atom is now one of the prized possessions of Sam Lane. Project Breach refers to his capture and brainwash into a weapon, with Lane wanting to stress the similarities between Adams and Tim Zanetti, or Planet Breaker. Captain Atom refers to his name and rank as codename Captain Atom. Captain Atom returns in a co-feature in Action Comics issue number 879, and appears in his normal costume instead of the Monarch armor as he was last seen wearing. He is shown to reside in a mystical medieval-esque, realm. Yeah. And attacking a highly fortified castle. Alright, let's see. Here we go. In his normal costume instead of the Monarch armor he was seen wearing, he is shown to oh wait, no, never mind. Here we go. Attacking a highly fortified castle for unknown reasons other than as he states his mission. After obliterating the castle's defenses, he has a brief flashback to a moment with the Justice League, then falls to the ground disoriented. No explanation is given for his return to his original appearance, his whereabouts since Countdown to Final Crisis, or why he reverted to his heroic persona rather than the conquest-seeking monarch. In Action Comics 880, it is revealed that Captain Atom has little to no memory of who he is other than his name. It is revealed that this mystical realm is connected to Project 7734 and is part of his conditioning. Later, he is attacked by Major Force, an enemy believed to be destroyed by Captain Atom himself when he first became Monarch. Mon-El appears and helps Captain Atom escape, taking him to the Justice League satellite, where the Justice League members declare that they are going to bring him to justice for his actions as Monarch. After a struggle with the League, Captain Atom tells them what he can remember. The League reminds him he was a hero who once saved the planet. He feels he has changed from the man he once was, and that he needs to go back to the magic world to make right what he has done. The Shadow Pact are called on to join him in his quest and provide a way for him to reach the Sorcerer's world. Now, Generation Lost. We're almost there, guys. We're almost towards the end. I know it's a long video. Captain Atom appears as one of the central characters in Justice League Lost, a maxi series that takes place during the wider Brightest Day event. At the start of this series, Captain Atom is recruited as part of a massive group of heroes tasked with hunting down the JLI's founder and Ted Kord's murderer, Maxwell Lord. During an encounter with Lord on the Justice League's former New York headquarters, Atom is rendered unconscious alongside Fire, Ice, and Booster Gold. The former Justice League members awake to discover that Lord has used his mental powers to erase his existence from the minds of every single human on the planet, save for those present at the embassy and others. Afterwards, Atom discovers that Max has mentally influenced the U.S. military into believing he has betrayed them. Atom shares with the group that when he absorbed a nuclear bomb Max had set off, that he found himself thrown through time to the future of the 24th century, and Earth had fallen into chaos through metahuman wars and backward in technology. He found a woman elderly and grotesque who turned out to be an aged power girl, telling him it was Maxwell Lord who was responsible for all this. Atom is then pulled back to the president and tells the rest of the team that the world needs them to stop Lord. After finding out the Omax dismembered droid. There we go. From the Omax dismembered droid, Captain Atom was struck by Mangog, who simply scoffs at the notion and states that he has come to kill Captain Atom at the behest of Max. In their battle, Captain Atom manages to convince Mangog he is being manipulated by Max. Mangog stops the attacks as he remembers Max's existence, and Captain Atom is prepared to help him. However, Max is on hand and forces Mangog to kill himself with his spear. Max uses his powers to manipulate everyone into believing that Captain Atom has killed Mangog before leaving. He realizes Mangog's spear is about to explode with energy. He tries to absorb as much as he can, thrusting himself into the same time stream again as the craters left behind. He is propelled through time again to 112 years into the future, where a metahuman war against the Omax had devastated the planet. Captain Atom battled for survival alongside future versions of the Justice League. However, they were all initially contaminated by a new nanovirus version of the Omax, and one by one became Omax themselves. As a dying Power Girl told him that the catalyst for all this was the death of Wonder Woman at Max's hands, Captain Atom is returned to the President, but not before Batman orders him to terminate the OMAC project to stop Max's plan. During the final battle against the new OMAC, known as OMAC Prime, Captain Atom allows OMAC Prime to absorb his energy before reabsorbing the energy and overloading his powers, resulting in him being thrown into the same time stream once again. Just before this occurred, he grabbed Max and threatened to pull him into the time stream as well unless Max undid the global mind wipe of his existence. Lord compelled, and everyone on Earth had their memories of him restored before Captain Atom was pulled away to a time and space unknown. Max later revealed a statement on the internet exonerating Captain Atom of the deaths in Chicago, saying far worse would have happened if he had not intervened. And that is it, guys. Holy shit, I finally actually got this done. I'm not gonna lie, guys, this is probably one of the closest, if not longest, videos that I've done yet. Or at least maybe one of the longest. There was a lot of information here that I had to cover. Some was excessively detailed, but hey. Anyway, guys, that is it. I'm finally done. This is Captain Atom's Lesser Known. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you endured it. And stay tuned for the next one.